Hi there. Welcome to Tool of the Week for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. So this week for the Tool of the Week, we are featuring the quantum grid points. Um, Pretty phenomenal little tool here. Hey, Leon, glad you could join us here live today from Australia. Um, so yes, if you are here live and you have questions along the way, please do pop some questions here on the questions tab. Otherwise, I'll just talk a bit about the quantum grid points. So the quantum grid point, and we have it written there, quantum grid point. So these little pyramids were the first thing that we created that was holding this grid system that which we just simply called the ascension grid. The energetics that these grid points hold, it it is very similar to the energetics that are in all of our ascension pyramids. So the ascension pyramids that we create that are basically, we call them the ascension pyramids because it is all about finding your light, releasing the things, coming back into remembrance of who you are. That is what the ascension is. And so the fields that these pyramids hold, it is a safe, sacred space. It's clearing, it's holding that space for your higher connection. And again, with the sacred space, it's clearing EMFs, dense consciousness, crossing over ghosts, all the fun stuff that then creates the sacred space. So it's the sacred spaces that then allow you to step more fully present. You don't have all the things weighing on you, and you're just able to be more you. Expand, do your work, or just be. Um, so the grid points again are holding a phenomenal space. They're ones that when you place this in your home or your space or outdoors or wherever you're placing it, and that's if you were using just a single grid point. We'll get into actual doing grid work, but for just a single grid point, these, when you place this in your space, it expands to the size of the space. So if you're in a giant warehouse building, you place it there, it expands to the size of that place, or to your home, your school, your work. So using a single pyramid, when you place it, again, you just sit it and it expands and encompasses that whole space. I'm going to check in here really quick. Hey, Malik, good to see you here. Hey, Christine from Oz. And MJ, glad you're here today. Hey, Tim. Yes, indeed, we are a sacred space wherever we go. That is totally the key point there, is that we become the sacred space and we carry our light and that space wherever we go. And I tell you what, that is truly what affects, you want to work and save the world and others and all that fun stuff. That's the way you can do it, is just by embodying your light and allowing that to walk with you. Um, Definitely a sacred space. Hey, Connie from Wisconsin. Let's see. So we'll get into a few questions here. Yep, I will talk about the the angles here on the pyramids to the 60-degree. Some of the older ones I own had straight light cubits in the base. So I'll go over some of the construction of the pyramids, and how we have them now. So the pyramids are, yes, they are a 60-degree angle. Now the 60-degree angle, yes, as Leon pointed out here, it is connected to the Bosnian pyramids. So it was the Bosnian pyramids that we first made this pyramid here, which is in the studio, this one with the star in it. So that pyramid with the giant Gaia sphere on top and the star in it and everything, that was the original 60-degree pyramid that we created for the Ascension pyramids. That one connects to the Bosnian pyramid complex, because The Bosnian pyramid, that is an ancient structure that one of the original builder races on the planet created stone structures that were actually higher dimensional tools. It's something that my sister for years was taken to this place in Bosnia with her clients when she couldn't remove, entity attachments, other things that were part of the old world again, pre 2020. Um, that when my sister ran into things that she could not handle, she was taken with her client to the Bosnian pyramids, and they would be in the cap of the pyramid, and the client would lay down on the stone table, and all of this work would take place. There was all of these different circles of beings that would come around. Some of them were that original builder race that were farther out. The inner circles were those who walk with you as the client, those who walk with my sister, and just others. And it was a space that profound healing and clearing work, and that's the way Bosnia is anyway. I have friends that go to the Bosnian pyramids. I have one buddy who's like in the 70s, and he goes there and he carries buckets of dirt through the tunnels in the Bosnian pyramids, and he talks about how he never gets tired, how he's never sore, how he just feels more alive than he ever has. I tell you, the Bosnian pyramid is pretty amazing, the energetics there. And so that's why we chose that Bosnian pyramid energetics to anchor into our pyramids, our quantum grid points, our ascension pyramids. Um, so basically, that's after this first pyramid that I showed you was created. I lost about 2 weeks of my life as I was making these quantum grid points. I don't even know. I was kind of gone for 2 weeks. And when I came back, basically, there was this entire grid system created, the ascension grid. And so this grid system connects to every one of the 60-degree pyramids we've made, whether it is this one, whether it is that larger ascension pyramid there, the original one, or any of the pyramids that we make. There is a connection between each of these as they are grid points. So how a grid point works is, for years I taught how to anchor columns of light and to create grids with these columns of light. You can do the same with these grid points in that how you utilize the grid points is you place one in one place, another in another place. And what happens when you place your grid points, you do not need to go in very consciously with a laundry list of details of what you want for the pyramids to do, how you want the space to be, because it's your light, it is your consciousness that is working with these fields. So when you place your pyramid, it knows what your intentions are with that. So like when you place your two pyramids, it automatically creates a connection between the two, a grid. Now, the connection that goes between these two grid points right here, we see as this golden fiery wall about 13 inches wide. Now, this is just the way that grids, electromagnetic earth grids on the planet is they are usually like walls. And they can vary in their thicknesses, but this wall of this quantum of this ascension grid, again, golden fiery, about 13 inches wide. So basically, we first created these grid points for some of our friends who work out in like the LA County area, and they were doing the clearing work with cell phone towers and any 5G transmitters. And so, they were using the golden fire and light wands to create columns of light, but not everybody was into really doing that consciousness work. So we wanted something easier for people to utilize to then clear cell phone towers. So let's imagine this microphone here is a cell phone tower. We have a grid point that we place on this side and one on this side. And this creates that golden fiery wall that connects these two. So you place this on either side of that cell phone tower. And as this, and these can be miles away, it can be right next to the fence, doesn't matter. Um, but when you place these, it is creating that wall of light. And as that golden fiery wall goes through the cell phone tower, it is doing just like all of the harmonizing tools and columns of light and everything that we use with the cell phone tower, in that it harmonizes the transmissions and it utilizes the transmissions to bring the energy and information of this field out onto the airwaves of the cell phone tower. So basically, you place these on either side of that tower, and that tower is going to be producing a beneficial field wherever it extends. And now I talk about this all the time. For everybody who is unconscious and unaware of the cell phone tower, it is producing those beneficial fields. If you get in there and you see the cell phone tower, you're a random person, you're like, oh, that damn cell phone tower, it's frying me, and that is what you receive. You override the beneficial energies that the cell phone tower is now innately producing. Um, but the cell phone tower will be producing those beneficial energies. So now then, when you're doing, so that's when you're just creating that wall of light between two grid points. Now, when you're actually creating a grid, you'll use three or more points. And, so it's just a whole simple concept of, this is a plot of land. You own this plot of land. You would put a grid point in each of the four corners. Then within this square, or if it's a triangle, it doesn't matter. You need three or more grid points, to set the corner points of this geometry you're making. So let's say you made this rectangle. You have a grid point in each corner. Everything in this center then is that field. So you've taken that field, which is that 13-inch wide wall, that ascension grid, and you basically, this whole field then, this whole rectangular plot of land is now holding that space. So instead of creating a sacred space just in the place where the grid point sits, you have now created that sacred space within this entire container. And yes, people have gridded states, cities, countries, towns, besides just their own property. These grid points are all over the world. And so the grid points, one thing about the grid points is that they are made with ecopoxy, the plant-based resin. So they can go in water, they can go in nature. Oftentimes, I will go and just walk up to a place, like let's say, you go to Washington, D.C., and you go stand by the monument. You want to place a grid point there. Put it in the ground this way, step on it, push it into the ground, cover it up with little grass, and it'll just stay there. So your grid point doesn't have to be this way. So yeah, you can totally just stick these into the earth in inconspicuous places. And because of the ecopoxy, they can go in water. So you can safely drop these into water, because it is going to take hundreds of years for these to dissolve. And yes, very negligible amount. And again, this is the resin is made up half and half. Half of it is that made out of nut, soybean, um, and the other half is more of that toxic chemical. But it is very little for the course of hundreds of years, and then plus it is harmonized. Um, so the other ingredients in the quantum grid points, the white is actually a crystal. It is crystal that is mined here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. There is quartz, rose quartz, tourmaline, um, gosh, lepidolite. There's mica. There is a lot within this white quartz, and it is again from the Black Hills, so it is very a very sacred stone. The top portion of the pyramid is purple lepidolite, which comes from Angel Fire, New Mexico. There is a space there. I have a buddy who harvests this purple lepidolite for me. Water loves the purple lepidolite. If you've heard of Anchi crystals, super expensive little crystals, purple lepidolite is a beautiful alternative to Anchi crystals. So let's see. Then what else is in here to answer Leon's question about copper? So there is actually a copper wire that is placed right in here. So we do have a straight line cubit measure. The only reason I did that is because in the beginning, everybody's like, hey, that's organite, but it's not organite. You can't make that because it doesn't have metal in it. And my response is, it's not organite because that's not what I'm creating. This is not an organite pyramid. It may produce some orgone energy for the fact that there is the whole concept of the crystal being compressed and some layering, but it's not my intention to create organite, though we do still have that piece of copper wire in there, and which just adds a little bit of extra energetics. So it is what powers this then if it's not organite? What is in this pyramid is a golden ball of light, metaphysically, energetically. There is a golden ball of light that connects with the heart of the earth. So, as I have been doing gridding work for over a decade, and the pre-2020 stuff of clearing old grid systems on this planet that were no longer beneficial, and working with the earth. And 2018, when Gaia sloughed off a lot of the non-beneficial grids, maybe it was 2015 or 2018, she incorporated one of the grids that I created, that I co-created, the Global Love and Gratitude grid. That became a organic grid system of the earth. So Gaia is very much in support of this grid system because she is a part of it. It is that golden ball of light from the heart of the earth that holds these grids in place. So that's truly what powers it, is all of the etheric, not only connecting with the heart of the earth, but the 2 weeks that I kind of went missing from my world, it was creating that ascension grid. So for these, and I'm just going to jump back here to our chats here as well. If you can't get to a physical location, can you use the image of the location and place a point on it? Most definitely you can. So, doing the map dowsing style of thing where you take a map and you can totally just place that pyramid on that spot, on that map, and it is energetically going to that space. If you place that grid point on either side of your chair during meditation or bed, then the 13-inch wall would pass right through you with the energetics of the pyramid. Correct. So, but here's the thing too, is that you don't necessarily need to have two of them, to put a grid on either side of you, because basically when you place the single one and it expands into your space, your whole space is that. So again, when we did the grids and we gridded and we put a point on each corner of your rectangular piece of land, and how it created this whole field within there, that is the same as if you just simply place this pyramid and it expands to your space. So, yeah, Christine, you would only need to use one of them, in your space, and it can be across the room even, because it is going to encompass the whole space. And really the only reason that you would want to to then have more of these for your space is only if you wanted to, you know, if you have that larger property and you wish to put one of the grid points on each of the corner, or maybe there's the town, or um, your entire school campus, or whatever it is, Washington D.C. Who knows? Whatever it is that you want to bring some light to. Leon, been using them with the KRT Badar coils. Yes, I tell you what, yeah, the Badar coils are amazing to amplify the pyramids. So when you place this on a Badar coil, yeah, it just brings a whole nother level through. Throughout the years, people have done a lot of fun things with these. You can place other rings on them, like a Wi-Fi ring or a finger ring. And basically, when you do that, it does amplify the field, and whatever other energetic you put on there brings, of course, it brings that more into it. But truly, the quantum grid points they basically have all the energetics that we create here at Twisted Sage, because this ascension grid, it's kind of like the etheric templates of our tools. It is a part of them. And so this ascension grid does carry, carries the golden fire, the highest potentials, the wisdom, the creation field. All of that is also within this field. Let's see. Yes, and a tensor field generator. I tell you, those little 1-inch tensor field generators on top are pretty phenomenal tool too, because it also helps to broadcast that field. And yes, as Leon said, try placing a written intention or a photo of a loved one in between the grid point, your Badar coil, because you can broadcast that to them. How much for 100 of them? $2,500. We do, these things are $35 just for a single. We do have some specials, a coupon code on the page where you get like a set of 3 or a set of 5, and you can get them for a certain discount. The cheapest that we go on these is $25, and so you can actually get them in that set of set of 5 of them, I believe. And when you use that coupon code for the set of 5, you can get them down to $25 a piece. Now we do have our sale on these, since it is the tool of the week. So with our tool of the week discount code, which is it's Quantum Grid Point 12, QGP12 for Quantum Grid Point, QGP12. And that's for this week. So the 12% you get off would put these down to $30. And again, you can get them in quantities of 5 or more. So, yep, there we go. Thanks, Leon. 3 of them for 96 or 5 for the 150. Now, also, we do have, for those of you who are serious into gridding, you can write to me. We have seconds of these. They are ones that are maybe have broken points like this one, or some of them are just the white stone, some of them are just the red stone, some of them are gosh, the black powder. God, I can't even remember this morning. Shungite. Some of them have powder shungite in them, but we do have some of the second grid points for those that are just using them to gift to the earth and to use for gridding on the planet, that don't really care if they are aesthetically perfect, because they don't have to be perfect to be fully functional. So yeah, if anybody is really into, gridding a lot, yeah, just get a hold of me, and we'll see what we can do on a deal on some of these seconds. Let's see. Do they need to be aligned with magnetic north? And so, no, that's absolutely it, is that the Egyptian pyramids have to be aligned with magnetic north. They rely on the magnetic grid of the earth to function. It's not just the geometry, they also rely on the magnetic grid. So the quantum grid points, the 60-degree pyramids do not need aligned with magnetic north because what powers them is not electromagnetic. It is that golden ball of light of the earth. That is what powers these. So that would be the earth powering these versus any of the others that might need to be aligned with magnetic north, especially the Egyptian ones. Um, and do you program specific intentions into the pyramids? And do we program the pyramids with Twisted Sage templates? Yes. So there are the etheric templates within here. But yes, you can program them. So the whole concept of if you just have a single one and you're going to place it into your space, um, you can totally bring up your laundry list of what it is that you feel as from the human perspective that you want this to carry. And it's kind of like working with the any of the newer tensor field generators versus the older ones. The older ones would hold the human base intentions and broadcast that. But all the newer tensor field generators, they only broadcast what is truly in alignment with you, not just what maybe one part of you, the human, is desiring or needing, which has a lot of say in what comes through, yes. But what I'm saying is that you can program the pyramids with your intentions. So you have the intentions. So what I tell people is, when you're placing the pyramid, and anytime you're working with intentions, it with these tools is a broad brushstroke because we're not working in fields where it is the human that is in creation. So we're working in the fields where, yes, we have the input, but the more that we just allow our consciousness and light to be the creator aspect of these fields, the more expansive and less limiting they can be, because we really do come from a limited perspective from our human understanding. And so, again, broad brushstrokes when you have your intentions. How I mean by that is like when you place your pyramid, you can have the intention of like what you want the space to be. Is your space for creativity? Is it for attracting abundance? Is it for health and healing? Is it for integration? Is it for releasing old soul contracts and doing the healing work as if you were in an ascension chamber? Um, Whatever that broad brushstroke of intention of what you want this space to provide for you, that is how I suggest putting in your intentions. Now, not to say that you cannot just put in your laundry list of details again, that you can certainly put in your intentions. The long story short was simply that I was saying that just be in your heart when you put in your intention, and then it is truly more in alignment with you when you come from the heart space versus coming from a perspective of limitation, need, that kind of thing. So really that makes a huge difference on what space you come from when you put your intentions in. And that's why I always say to be in the heart space and be broad and open versus coming in from that point of need, necessity. God, this has to happen. My life is shit without this thing, whatever it is, pardon the language. And just saying that, you got to be sure that you're coming from the heart space when you put your intentions in there. And that is all. Um, be just for the purpose of having a more expansive field for you. You don't have to be in the heart space. You can still be in your pain body limitation, putting intentions, and that's going to be fine. It's not going to do any harm. And that's the beautiful thing about the tools is that, when you put in your intention, if that intention is not in alignment, that's not what is going to be brought through. Um, it is tempered by you and your light and a different perspective of what is in the highest and greatest good. Because that's it. It's always the highest and greatest good. Um, so let's see. Um, Gosh, I was trying to think if there was any other um, thoughts and uses, suggestions on the quantum grid points. And I have not looked at the testimonials for the quantum grid points in a little while, so there may be some information up there as well. And I know we've done some older videos on the quantum grid points too, but truly the basics is, just using a single pyramid is a beautiful thing. I gift these out all over the world, not to people. Sometimes I'll place them on a random fence post someplace for somebody to find, or place them, in places where people will find them and where they're holding space. But the quantum grid points again are ones that are going to physically last and energetically last for hundreds of years, um, if that's what they need. So, hey, Renard, glad you're here today. So, yeah, that's kind of all the basics that I can give you on the quantum grid points, unless anybody has any other questions on specific uses. But again, just being in the heart space, setting it, allowing it to expand and hold the space for you. And you can go back and change what you want the flavor of your space to be, at any time. And so, even if you left this at your house and your house is 1,000 miles away, you can just sit there and change the energetics right from where you're at. Um, so, anyway, yeah, Renard. Yeah, well, it seems we were talking about putting tensor field generators and rings and setting it on a Badar coil and such. And I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of yours with that little tensor field generator on top. But yeah, they are a pretty remarkable tool. And again, they're affordable enough that God, if you want a Christmas gifts, they're a great Christmas gift. You can get a package of 5 of them, maybe $25 a piece. And, they have the information right there, Twistedsage.com, quantum grid point. Whoever you give them to, they can look it up. And they don't have to really even believe in this stuff for it to be holding a space for them. So, yeah, they make great gifts. Anyway, yes, using them with the wings of talk. Yeah, that is a really good one too. And having them inside the generators. Just there's just so many different combinations, and people ask the question almost every day. Hey, what about this combination of tools? And I keep telling everybody, yes, keep playing with the tools, add different combinations, and you're gonna find something pretty phenomenal because they always create something greater than the sum when you add the tools together. So anyway, yeah, if there is nothing else here today, I hope that you guys all enjoy your quantum grid points because I know a lot of you have these. And otherwise, I'll look forward to seeing quite a few of you on Friday. So thanks for being here, you guys. And as always, thank you for the support. And yeah, best wishes. All right. See you later.